This episode is brought to you by Resy and American Express. Resy is a digital platform that connects restaurants to restaurant lovers by elevating dining experiences, providing original industry content, and helping to fill some of the country's most exciting dining rooms. Because restaurants have always been more than just places to eat. The amazing world of restaurants is just a few taps away in the Resy app and at resy.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
No one should write cookbooks or develop recipes the way I do. It is so haphazard. I kind of don't know that I have a book until it's a little bit before deadline, and I look and think, oh, baked a book.
This is Taste. I'm your host, Matt Rodbard. Dorie Greenspan's Anytime Cakes marks her 15th cookbook, which is a remarkable achievement in the world of cookbooks. Dorie is a former New York Times columnist and prolific recipe developer, particularly in the world of cookies, cakes, pies, and all things sweet. It was so much fun having Dorie in the studio to talk about her history and dive into why cake might just be the most special dessert of all. I hope you enjoy this episode. And at the top of the show, it's the return of Three Things, where Eliza and I talk about what is exciting us in the world of restaurants, cookbooks, and the food world as a whole. Eliza, we are back with Three Things. How are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
It's great. It's great to see you.
I know. It's been a minute. We've been rotating in and out of the studio all day.
I know. We've had a lot of interviews today, but we have to come at the mic with some Three Things.
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
I will start. Yeah. I just got back from Las Vegas.
Our favorite place.
You say that with some enthusiasm. You know, to remind listeners, we were there last May, and we did 5 episodes. It was a great collaboration with Visit Las Vegas, and we got to see have some great food. My streak in Vegas continued, my winning streak, I'll say.
Ooh, lucky.
So I have a preview and a kind of a visit, and they're both in the Carbone family.
Okay.
So I got to walk through the brand new Carbone Riviera, which is opening today, which is cool. So I was told I could not post any photos, one of those things, and I obliged. But I get to talk about it on mic for the first time. And let me tell you, it is a pretty stunning restaurant. To give a little recap, Carbone Riviera is at the Bellagio. It is taking the spot of the longtime restaurant Picasso, which was run by Julian Serrano. Julian retired in May of 2024. And pretty much since the day he retired, they've been building it towards this Carbone Riviera moment. But I got to walk through with a great guy, Warren Richards, who's the executive director of food and beverage at Bellagio, and he got to share all sorts of details. Now, Carbone is, of course, Carbone, capital C, Dumois. We know the name. There are locations that started in New York City 12 years ago, and it is now in Miami, Dallas, Dubai, Hong Kong, London, and other spots. This is the first time they're doing the Riviera concept, which is, I would say, seafood is the focus. But you can, of course, get the Carbone classics. You can definitely get the spicy pastas that they're famous for, and but really, Carbone Riviera is like Carbone proper, breaking the meal into 3 courses: an antipasta course, delicacies of the sea, which on my visit I spotted a menu with Montauk oysters, red Sicilian prawns, Japanese haramasa tartare, and yellowtail crudo, which is, so it's like the focus is this kind of seafood, either raw or large format seafood. And then at the end, you can get a steak, you can get a some kind of Milanese, maybe a veal Milanese, instead of the big parm that they do at Carbone. I love the space. It has their iconic food installations. When I walked in, it was artichokes and lemons greeting me, a beautiful sculpture of that. Captain Service, lots of trolleys around the space. A couple other highlights. They basically extended out the patio at Picasso so that it is like literally touching the fountains at the Bellagio. So it's like the closest you can be to the Bellagio fountains. They have a yacht there, a mini yacht, which is basically a very expensive boat.
In the fountain?
Yes, in the fountain. So
Wow.
if you know someone, you can get on that boat. And it's opening today. I have to say, we talked a little bit about reservations, and there's a perception that it's like impossible to get into Carbone. And you look at it and like you're 4 months out and you see everything is booked. Well, really, they book 30 days out like a lot of restaurants. I checked this morning and there were spots available for November. So if those are filled up, like check back 30 days in advance so you can get a reservation. That's how it works. So I think this is, I can't speak about the food, obviously, but it seems this restaurant from Mario Carbone, Rich Teresi, and Jeff Zelaznik is going to be a big hit in Vegas.
Yeah, it feels like a very Vegas restaurant, so the perfect setting for that.
Yeah. What's your first thing?
My first thing is more of like a PSA, which is I think this past weekend was the best weekend ever in Brooklyn because it was Halloween and then the New York City Marathon. And next year, I found out that the marathon is going to be the day after Halloween. So it's going to be even tighter of a back-to-back people watching experience. And I've already told my mom that I need her to come and visit next year for that weekend. Because I think if you love trick-or-treating or costumes or you love the humanity of watching the marathon, you can get both back to back. So I guess my PSA is if people are listening and they're thinking about wanting to come to New York and have a really kind of like locals focused weekend of just kind of walking around and seeing people and like being a human in the crowd, that I think that weekend next year is going to be the time to come.
Totally epic. I'm not living in the city anymore. I miss this convergence of these two big fall holidays. I feel like somebody has got to like obviously walk the parade, keep the costume on, and then run the marathon.
Yeah, even this weekend. So Halloween was on Friday and then the marathon was on Sunday. There were people in costume at the marathon, which is impressive to see. And I'm sure next year there will be even more of that. But I just love watching people achieving their goals, whether that goal is making an elaborate Halloween costume or running a whole marathon. And I think having both in close proximity is really fun.
Yeah, it's fall in New York. It's the best time. Mark your calendars for next year.
For next year, yeah. What's your next thing?
My next thing is I'm staying at Carbone. This is the big Carbone weekend for me. But I have to talk about the food because I actually dined at Carbone at Aria. Shout out to Ashley at MGM for the reservation. I was like doing prep for this, and apparently it's the hardest reservation in the city. I can't really deny that. We got there right at 5 during reservation. There was a line of like 50 people waiting to get in, and some were turned away. It's at Aria, which is I like that hotel casino a lot. It feels like it's very manageable in many ways. Lots of things to do, but it doesn't feel like it's over the top in the ways that some of us don't want to travel. But I have to say, I dined at Carbone for the first time in 2014, which is a year after it opened here in New York City. I thought it was a very good meal, but I never really understood Carbone after that meal. It wasn't a place that I wanted to go back to. And, Red Sauce Classics, I thought the food was very well executed. But now that it's like a really hard table, I just wasn't really interested. So it was nice to finally go to Carbone in Las Vegas in 2025 and see what's happening there. Excellent food. Like, it's a really, really good restaurant from top to bottom. You walk in, you see Christopher Walken everywhere. That's the first thing I have to say. You walk in, he's right there. And he's in the dining room. So it's like that's the theme of it. So they're kind of sticking with the New York City backroom vibe, but it's like a big restaurant as well. So they kind of been able to figure out that intimacy at scale. It was a very Vegas crowd. It was great. There was a wedding happening at Carbone.
Wow.
There was somebody I didn't see, but it was a lot of security detail around somebody. I didn't see who it was. It was that kind of vibe. But we're not here to talk about the scene. We're here to talk about the food, which I thought was great. And it starts with a Caesar salad. I'm going to say it's the best Caesar salad I've ever had.
Wow. Are they making it tableside?
Sure are. Making it tableside. Lots of the same components you're going to see, but we're talking about great grated cheese. We've got, of course, the crisp romaine, really nice olive oil. It's really like a culmination of great products. But I think what they're known for, per the server, was their crouton, which was kind of, I would describe it as fried bread chips.
Oh.
High quality olive oil, great salt, just perfect bites. I really love that. I had a nice buffalo mozzarella caprese as well for those first courses. The center of Carbone's menu is the macaroni course. It's kind of a little joke because it's not really macaroni. It's incredible pastas. I had the spicy rigatoni, which I loved. I had a lobster ravioli with lobster on the inside and lumps of lobster on the outside in a light cream sauce. Oh, it was good. Really, really excellent food there, man. I have to keep saying it because I was very surprised in the best way possible. We had Dover sole piccata and veal parmesan for the mains. Great dessert cart, combing the floors. Great desserts on the menu via cart. I enjoyed the lemon ricotta cheesecake, and they had a blackout cake as well. And for me, this was just such a really enjoyable meal, great service. And I have to agree with Priya. She wrote that great piece about Carbone where she went to all 4 in America. And at the end of it, she came out that Las Vegas was her best meal out of the 4. And I have to agree that, at least from my experience, it was a terrific time at Carbone.
Yeah, it sounds so fun. I love the kind of carts as an element of hospitality, and I feel like it certainly fits in the Vegas context. So now I'm excited to try to go when I go to Vegas again.
Yeah, and Ashley is very nice with the reservation, so
I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, they were very cool to slide us in there. What's your second thing?
My next thing is that recently I made the Samin buttermilk brined roast chicken at home, which is a classic recipe of hers that I think she recently did a video of for New York Times. So that's how it kind of emerged into Shirley and I's thinking of what to make for dinner. It's just such a perfect roast chicken recipe. The buttermilk brine really just results in such a juicy, perfectly browned chicken. We roasted it with some thick cut onions beneath it, which got kind of schmaltzy and nice. And now it's just such a great meal prep anchor. Obviously, you can spin it out into grain bowls and salads and all kinds of things. But I think if you make roast chicken at home, maybe you don't normally go to the effort of doing a brine or a marinade. But I think this one is truly worth it because it's easy and it has such a high payoff. So I'm just excited to have this in my rotation again.
I'm excited to check that recipe out. I haven't roasted chicken in a while. What caused you to roast the chicken?
I think it just felt like it's a busy week. It would be a good thing to kind of have to spin out into different ways. And there's something about fall. I just feel like it's seasonal, Yeah,
no, I feel that vibe as well.
Yeah. What's your next thing?
My last thing is a book. I read Hamnet. Did you ever read that book?
Yeah, I loved that book.
Okay, great. I was wondering, we don't prep this ahead of time, and so we can book club it briefly. I wanted to read it because it's, of course, a major motion picture this fall starring Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. I love those actors, directed by Chloe Zhao. I have not seen the film, but I'm sure we will. Let's do a fall
we go to the movies.
Movie episode or segment. And we did that last year, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But back to the book, it's the 2020 novel by Irish writer Maggie O'Farrell, and it tells the story of William Shakespeare's son Hamnet, who died at the age of 11 in 1596. That's the log line, but really this is a book about Hamnet's mother, Agnes, and it is a devastating book. It is really, really tough read. Trigger warning for anybody who has had loss and doesn't want to go there. This is not the book for you. For historical fiction, which I don't dabble in too much, I think it was a remarkable job at just really having imagination for this period in time so long ago. I know I read the acknowledgments. There's a lot of deep research about the Black Plague, the Black Death, which is the center of this story, and about the kind of gender dynamics happening at the time, and the class system too. There's a little bit of everything there. I really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to watch the film.
Yeah, I teared up just watching the trailer for that movie, so I'm certainly excited to watch it. And I think, Shakespeare obviously is one of the most iconic figures in the contemporary imagining of literature and culture. And I think to think about the person behind that and just the context in which these great works were created is always really special. So I appreciate the reminder about how good the book is.
Yeah, and they're book clubbing it at the New York Times in November. So they do a great job there where they'll have a couple podcasts about it. And discussions online. I'm plugging the New York Times here.
Okay.
Great. I love the book section. It's my first. I always go to the book section first in the New York Times.
Yeah, it's a good section.
Yeah. And what is your last thing?
My last thing is I'm helping organize a benefit party for One Love Community Fridge here in New York. We're fundraising so that they can open a new community fridge in Crown Heights, and we're doing that with a party with food and DJs and dancing at Honey's on November 16th. Certainly, that's always a good mission. Us here at Taste have supported One Love Community Fridge in the past at our most recent live podcast event. I think especially in this moment, amidst these unprecedented snap cuts, it's a really important time to be fundraising, to be, making sure no one is going hungry here in New York. So I'm really excited about this event. There's going to be food by Huang Kwa, which is a Laotian pop-up here in New York that has been happening, I think, at Commune monthly, but I've never been, but I'm excited to go before. Losers, which is a cool cake event pop-up group, is going to do cake. And then there's 3 DJs as well. I think when this episode is out, the tickets will have just gone live, so you should be able to just find them on Eventbrite. But I'll be there. Cake Scene is doing a curated magazine stand. So we have 7 magazines, including Cake Scene, that are going to be selling, all going to support One Love's fundraising efforts.
Well, thanks for sharing your 3 things, Eliza.
You too.
This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. As a food writer and cookbook author, I'm always cooking up a storm in my home kitchen. And while my pantry is well stocked, and I make it to the farmer's market for seasonal produce, and perhaps a few photos for Instagram, I'm always struggling to find the perfect cut of beef, pork, and chicken to cook for dinner. For real, my local Stop & Shop's meat section just isn't cutting it, and our local butcher shop is frankly pretty scary. That's why a ButcherBox subscription is such a lifesaver. My freezer is always packed with premium grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, and wild-caught seafood. I recently pulled out a 3.5-pound boneless pork butt from the freezer and was braising it in no time. Soy sauce, mirin brown sugar, oyster sauce, low and slow. It was delicious. For nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free. As an exclusive offer, our listeners can get free protein in every box for a year, plus $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/taste. Visit butcherbox.com/taste to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/taste. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy, red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Dorie Greenspan, welcome to This Is Taste. So great to see you.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Welcome back. You were in double digits.
Yeah. I was like 13, numbers 13, 16, something like that.
With Anna Hiesel, our brilliant former co-host. And so a long time coming to have you back. You've written several books since then.
I've been busy.
You've been busy.
You've been busy. It's good.
It's good to be busy. And you have a real love of recipe development. You have a real love of Paris and New York City. And we're going to talk all about it. But you also have a love for cakes. Something about cakes.
Something about cakes. Yeah, that's my next T-shirt. I started this book. I didn't know I was going to write this book. This book was not on my I've got to write a cake book list. And I was developing some recipes for the New York Times. And as I started to work on these cakes, it was first of all, I just loved doing it. It had been a while since I had developed new recipes, and making the cakes, I started to think, gee, I remember why I really loved this. But also, what I was making were really simple cakes. The Times had asked for holiday cakes. I thought holiday meant frou-frou, fussy, centerpiece. And I suggested to them that maybe I make some cakes that would just stay in the kitchen, right? So when the showstoppers went out to the dining room, there would still be these really simple cakes that you could come into the kitchen and nibble on. They said yes. So as I started to make these, not only did I remember how much I love to develop recipes. But they started to bring back all kinds of memories from childhood. And it was like one memory begot another, and one idea for a cake begot another. And I thought, I just want to spend a lot of time doing this.
Yeah, I think there's so many great stories in the writing in the book. In the head notes, you have a few essays as well. And it's definitely a trip down memory lane. I want to go there. Let's talk about New York City, growing up in Brooklyn, and some childhood and some young adult, just New York City memories of food. It could be bakeries, it could be cakes.
So it was cakes and it was bakeries. My mother famously didn't cook, didn't bake, but she had great taste and she loved food and she had a real sweet tooth. And I realized, I mean, I knew this, but it's only when you're really like focused on something that everything kind of comes to you in a different way. We always had cake in the house. So there was, I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Flatbush. I went to Midwood High School. Hello, Midwood High School kids.
What's the mascot for Midwood?
Matt.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know. Do you know?
No, I don't know. We don't. Midwood isn't really my part of Brooklyn, but
Were you Brooklyn?
no, I was West Michigan.
Yeah, that's
Close
what
enough.
I thought. Yeah, close enough. No,
No,
not.
but so you don't know the mascot, but Midwood High. You're Midwood High.
Midwood High School, and so did my husband. We lived just around the corner
Yeah,
from
I
one
love that.
another, right?
So great.
But we shopped on Avenue J. My mother did, and there were 3 bakeries, and my mother bought something from each bakery. She bought bread every day from Ratchik's, which was. Do you know Julia Turshen?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, Julia's grandparents owned Ratchik's.
What a great story.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And so bread always came from Ratchik's. So did babka, and there was a marble cake. And cookies came from Sutter's, fabulous butter cookies. When you opened the box, the smell was amazing. And those little, the piped, I think they're actually Austrian cookies that have just a little cherry in this. Well, they can have anything, but, those cookies. And then there was Ebbinger's, the famous Brooklyn bakery.
Yep.
And crumb cakes, and a chocolate cake. And so I grew up with cakes in the kitchen and with people always coming into the house. The door was open and there would be the smell of coffee. There was always a pot going perk, 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 perk.
Yeah.
And
bubbling, percolating. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was exciting when my mother got an electric coffee pot. And these cakes, these very simple cakes.
I love it. Were you a DeFara fan growing up?
Oh, so that was, we walked there.
Yeah.
I think, well, everybody knows how old I am, so I'm not aging myself. I think we got pizza for 15 cents a slice.
No way.
And a Coke for a dime. I think for a quarter it was lunch.
That's amazing. Was it good back then? I mean, DeFara has obviously this mythology around it.
I thought it was good. Would you take, the word of a 12-year-old?
You had a palate then, I'm sure. Well, let's go back to your early days as a professional working in food writing. I haven't asked you this. This is the first time I've had you on the show. I want to kind of get a sense of these early assignments. What got you into writing professionally about food? I know you had a professional background before then, and there was like a career change at some point.
Yeah. So I was working at a social research center. And from there, I went to while I was still working, I went to graduate school in gerontology. And so that's really the first place that I wrote and the first place that I worked with people who said, hey, you can write.
Yeah.
It was major for me. And when it came time to do my dissertation, I just couldn't face it. I couldn't face it. I always say that's the deadline I didn't meet.
Yeah.
And so my husband, my wonderful husband, Michael, said, you love to bake. Why don't you try getting a job as a baker?
Amazing.
Amazing was right. Amazing was that I got a job. Amazing was that I got fired a month later.
Yeah.
But and then it's good to have friends. Another good friend said, you should try writing about food. And so my first article was for Food and Wine magazine. They did a December-January issue. Yeah. I had a story in there called Fireside Sweets. And I didn't know how to approach a magazine. So I just brought myself up to their office with a basket full of sweets and said, this is what I want to write about. And I got the assignment.
Incredible to bring gifts to your editor. I think that's a really nice move. But like, how are you breaking into this recipe writing world? Because like, I guess you can read recipes and follow what people are doing, but it takes more than just instinct to write a recipe.
Yeah, but so I think yes, comma, maybe no.
Okay.
Because I had experience writing.
Yeah.
Reports to the administration on aging, not exactly, recipes. But I think there are a lot of people who are doing this today exactly as I did it before, which was I was a home baker. I was not trained. I adored baking. I baked every day. I baked from Made a Heater was my Bible. Mm-hmm. Gaston Lenôtre, which was French, was the other book that I baked my way through. And I just wanted to do it. So I'm self-taught in every way. And I think when I started to write recipes, I kind of felt like Made a Heater was on my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
She had a tone. I always felt that she was in the kitchen with me when I was baking. And I know that I tried to be like her. I just worked at it. And I was so lucky to have good editors.
I was wondering about the editors and having somebody there to shepherd your early assignments at Food and Wine. Who was your editor?
So Susan Weiler was my first editor.
Yeah.
And then I wrote for Elle magazine when it first launched in America, and that's when I started writing about chefs. That was the late 80s.
Who were you writing about, chef-wise?
Oh, so it was a great time to be writing about chefs, all French, because Elle, it's a French magazine. I wrote about Daniel Boulou. I wrote about Jean-Louis Paladin. I wrote about Michel Rostang. I wrote about Alain Ducasse.
Yeah.
Michel Richard. It was good.
Jean-Louis with those marble reds in his mouth the whole way. What a legend.
What a legend. And so, now as we look back and we think about these chefs, you could almost make a family tree.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. And see who trained with them and where we are now. Because I think their influences, Jean-Georges and Danielle are still working like mad.
Yeah.
But I think their influences are really felt.
What was it like, profiling all these boys, being a woman in that late 80s? What, did you have to kind of earn your keep a little bit?
So I was very lucky because, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I went to ask for a job, I had so this was 82, I had great recommendations, and I went to the chef, and as I was told to, and told him exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to work for free. I just wanted the experience. And he said, I'm looking for a boy.
Interesting.
There really weren't women in the kitchen then, but I could speak French.
Yeah.
And I knew stuff about being in the kitchen. My French wasn't beautiful, but it was enough that these guys could speak to me in French, and I think of it as translating their recipes so that home.
Yeah, and then they saw your work, and they were like, wow, this woman can really distill all this crazy back-of-house information into an actual publishable article.
It was a very exciting time and the best training I could have gotten.
Yeah, and Dorie, you go from writing magazine articles to writing cookbooks. You write a cookbook with Julia Child.
I did.
Hermé and Danielle. Yep. You write these books, and I want to just go back and talk about this collaboration process before we have all these tools. Because I think about this a lot writing my own books. Like, we lean into Google Docs a lot. We lean into Wikipedia. Now AI is in the mix. And back before all of that, before online, you are doing way more work to write these cookbooks.
It's funny. I never thought about it like that. And of course I didn't then, because who could have imagined that, we would be on Google all the time, or we would have it in our pockets. Yeah. I checked the other day to see when I got email. I had email early because my husband was a software guy. But I know we used email. I remember being on the phone endlessly. But I was also there in a way that I think a lot of people don't get the opportunity to be anymore because it's so easy to be sending images back and forth, to be making Google Docs and sharing things.
Yeah, I mean, the collaboration, being there, having a notepad, writing it down, if that's the way you were trained, that's the way you know.
I'm a pencil and paper
You're
girl.
a pencil
Still
to this day. And if that's the way you know, that's the way you know. But it's just so much easier to have a shared drive with your collaborators and group editing and comments, and you can be in two different places.
Look what I missed.
What's it like with Julia, collaborating with her, later in her life? What's that project like?
That was a dream project. So we worked together with Jeff Drummond, who is the producer, to think about so it was a television show. It was a PBS show. It was 26 bread bakers and pastry chefs. We worked together to decide who the chefs would be. I made an outline of what I thought the chefs should be teaching. I wanted the book to be a teaching book. And Julia was a teacher. She was a brilliant teacher. And so we worked on that ahead of time. I was there for the filming. We didn't tape. We filmed, right? This is 94, 95.
Yeah, Jeffrey's a real legend, and his work is still to this day, incredible.
And set the stage
Absolutely.
for so much more. And then I kissed Julia goodbye at the wrap party, and I said, I'll start sending you things next week. She said, oh no. I'm looking at your face. You look so surprised. I was shocked. I had always thought that we would really work together on this. And she said, oh no. Go home and write your book, which was both thrilling and I just talking about it now, my heart is pumping. I was so nervous. I was so anxious. I was so tense. But I ended up writing the book. She read it in galley.
Wow.
Talk about trust.
That's trust.
Talk about trust. She was amazing. And then we talked to one another every morning for the rest of her life. She was so smart. She was so funny. She was just curious about everything in the world. And she loved food and cooking.
Yeah, it's obvious. And honestly, it seems like the trust was formed on set when you're meeting her. And clearly you have an aptitude that she clearly linked up with right away.
Thank you. And maybe, but boy, was I nervous.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like then, your cookbook career, it starts in this kind of collaboration mode before going out on your own. Like, give me a sense of the collaborations with the French guys. Like, what's it like? Are you in their kitchens every day, seeing them bake?
So the two would have been. I'm laughing because they were so different. Daniel Boulou and Pierre Hermé. So with Daniel, he was breaking down the Danielle to make it Café Boulou. And we were writing the Café Boulou cookbook. And this was, wow, what a I'm seeing it all now. He said, we have 2 weeks to do all of the recipes. And I said, we don't even have a list of recipes.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, we'll do it. And he called back, it was August. And the kitchen, the kitchen was intact, but the restaurant was undergoing total renovation.
Right.
He said, I'll get my team back and we'll make these recipes. And so we were 18 people, including Danielle, in the kitchen.
Wow.
I was, I wasn't cooking. He made 9 teams of 2. And he said, okay, today you do a tagine. You do a stuffed lamb neck. You're going to do liver. And everybody cooked. And I went racing around.
Between each station, taking notes furiously.
Right, to get the recipes. We all tasted together. It was fabulous. And it had such a good feel because these were chefs who were always, on the line, working hard, had customers out there, clients, had Danielle saying, do it. And this was a true collaboration and an opportunity to really cook with Danielle. Pierre, we did it long distance. We spent about 3 weeks together talking about recipes, and then I went back to America and made them.
It's a great model to do it both ways. You're making me think like this like spontaneous pop-up book project model. That sounds really cool.
We never used the word pop-up back then, but that explains it.
Yeah, bring all the chefs in.
It was really exciting.
Wow. Well, let's talk about cakes a little bit more. I want to hear your broad take on when you're going through the recipe list before you start writing the book. I mean, cakes, Dorie, it's a very big topic.
Okay, so I'm laughing because for one book, I think for Baking from My Home to Yours, I had a recipe list.
Okay.
No one should write cookbooks or develop recipes the way I do. It is so haphazard. I kind of don't know that I have a book until it's a little bit before deadline, and I look and think, oh, baked a book. But sure, I had some ideas. What I knew was that I wanted the cakes to be as simple as possible. And, I wrote a book that was just cookies. And after I got the contract, I thought, what have I gotten myself into? Can I really make so many cookies? And I found that the constraints of working on a single subject actually made it easier to have a trillion ideas.
Yeah.
And it was like that with cakes. Once I said I wanted the cakes to be simple, I wanted not to depend on frostings and fillings and frou-frou to make the cake good. I wanted it to be the ingredients, the texture, the form, the shape. Then I started working, and as I said to you, as I started working, I was so surprised by the memories of cake that came back that's what really, piqued my interest and said, bake this cake.
What's the day like in your test kitchen?
My test kitchen.
In Paris or in Connecticut or New York, like when you're writing these recipes.
Right.
Because I love talking to, pastry cookbook authors because, on the savory side, we can, knock out 8 recipes a day. It's a little different when you're.
I don't think I've ever done 2 in a day.
So that's the situation here. It's.
I'm sure of it. I've never done 2 recipes in a day. That could be me and I'm slow, but no. The best day in my kitchen when I'm developing is when I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Is when like the night before, I get all set up. And I can do a mise en place, which I really believe in. I came to it late, but you can't bake without one. So all the ingredients are out and ready. I've cleared my counter. I have my notebook. I use little, graph notebooks.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to work. And I wake up in the morning, and I'm thinking about it all night. And I wake up in the morning, and I work on it. And if it's good, that's the perfect day. But often, so my desk is in my kitchen. I do all of my development really in Connecticut. And if I do some stuff in Paris, then of course it comes back to America to be tested. Yeah. But my desk is in my kitchen. And sometimes I'll be working and I'll think, oh, got an idea.
Oh.
And I can just jump up. And that's kind of the joy of working at home in your kitchen.
Yeah. And it feels like you're obviously writing for the home kitchen. So you're not writing in a stainless steel test kitchen.
Right.
And that's really good. I mean, there's so many recipes to cover in the book. I love the way that you break it up by form. Bunt, you've got minis, you've got loaf. I mean, it's a smart way to do it. I mean, how are you thinking about distributing evenly as you're writing this?
So I didn't want that to be the organization.
Oh.
I wanted something cute and clever.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it would be all chocolate or maybe it would be occasional. And in the end, shape really was the best way. And you know what? The chapters aren't even.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought about it. I tried. I put the names down on – I tried to cheat, to even something out. But nope, they're not even.
No, I mean, and that's cool. And it didn't feel imbalanced to me.
Good.
But the organization makes perfect sense to me too.
Thank you, because I couldn't think of anything else. The cutest I got was cake with corners.
Yeah, I love that. That was a good way to put that. Cake with corners was good. A few recipes to go over. I mean, there's so many to talk about. The apple custard cake, intriguing. This custard texture that you can that you write about is something that I think we all as home bakers kind of covet.
It's such a good cake. So that cake, around my French table, 2010, my friend Marie-Hélène, Parisian friend, made an apple cake that she served at the end of dinner that I fell madly in love with. And when I asked her for the recipe, she looked at me like, recipe? We don't have made it au pif, and she pointed to her nose. And she made it with apples that were windfall from her country house in Normandy. So romantic,
Yeah.
but no recipe. I finally got the cake and was amazed by it. She had told me that it was more apple than it was batter. And that cake just holds together. And it's been a favorite cake forever. And I was thinking about that cake and thinking, could I make it in a loaf? And so the apple custard cake is a loaf cake. I had Marie-Hélène's apple cake in my brain when I made it.
Yeah.
And I just think it is such a beautiful cake. It's just, when you cut it, you get like striations. You get like the very, very thinly sliced apples, and then that custard, and the top of it is dark brown. And I made it, and I was thrilled, and I sent it off to be tested, and it tested, it was great. And then I discovered that I had rediscovered an invisible cake.
Ah.
There's actually a group of cakes called invisible cakes because the ingredients kind of blend into the batter.
Makes sense.
And so I made an apple invisible cake.
That's amazing. Well, you mentioned the tester. You worked with the same tester on many of your projects. I mean, how does that play that back and forth? I think you write in the book and your acknowledgments how your tester, you guys think like each other now at this point.
Yes. I mean, we've been together. We started to work together in 2011. So how long is that?
Wow.
Yeah. And we use Google Docs.
There you go. Without the Google Docs, you'd be on the phone going over changes, and that's different.
Well, we're on the phone a lot. We're emailing back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love that. Another cake I want to talk about, this yogurt and berry cake. You mentioned how you have to you test it over and over and over and again. What was the complexity there?
It wasn't so much the testing. So this cake is based on an old recipe, old to me, but older to French people. When I moved to Paris, which is now like 28 years ago, people started, they would make cakes and they would all be the same. They would be the yogurt cake.
Yeah.
And French people in general are not like project bakers the way we Americans
We have so
are.
many great shops.
So many great shops.
Why would you do it at home?
And there's also a feeling that, well, if people are coming, you buy something fancy. So the yogurt cake is really a family cake.
Yeah.
And I used to make it with almond flour.
Okay.
And then I thought, simple, 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 we'll make it with all-purpose. And I always made it plain. Sometimes instead I would use olive oil. Sometimes I would put something in it. And making it with berries wasn't hard. It was, what would it be like? You know how berries, if you use red berries, they leave a little ring around, right?
Yeah,
So
it's like they bleed a little bit.
They bleed a little bit. And I tried to make a cake that didn't bleed. And then I decided, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But so there are recipes in the book that have little hearts next to them. And they're called a treasured favorite.
Yep.
And the berry yogurt is one of them. And so they're cakes that some of them are new, but they're either cakes that have a longer backstory than others or more, deeper memories, or they're cakes that I've made for years that I tweaked.
Yeah.
And, kind of played around with perfection.
Another cake is the semolina chocolate cake with yogurt. I think semolina is a product that we know, but maybe don't bake enough with. But you make a really great case for baking with semolina.
So I had rarely baked with it. I think I used it in some biscotti because the texture that you get from semolina is so nice. And you get that little bit of can we use the word coarseness and have it be positive?
Right.
Yeah, but there's a certain, there's a little roughness, a sandiness that I find so interesting.
Yeah.
And I made that cake after I'd come back from Italy, so I had that kind of flour in my head. But with chocolate, you wouldn't know that there's semolina in there, even if semolina were your best friend, but you get the texture.
Yeah. I love, Dorie, how when reading the book, I'm learning about your life and learning about your tastes in restaurants and your friend circle. There's the cake that you can make when you see your guests arriving down the road. I love that story. And then there's a cake that is a tribute to a favorite restaurant of yours in Paris. It's a Brazilian restaurant. I love that.
So this is it was a cafe. I had never seen a cake like this before. Walked in, saw the cake on a cake stand, very plain. Had it and couldn't put my finger on anything about it, and spoke to the owner, and she said, "Oh, this is a cake that's so common in Brazil." She sent me the recipe, which was amazingly kind of her, and it made no sense. You just put a bunch of things, including corn, in the food process.
Canned corn.
Canned corn, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, canned corn. And sweetened condensed milk, I think, right? And you press it was in a blender, you press the button and cake. Well, for a while I pressed the button and got cake, and then I couldn't get it to work again. And so this was kind of a slight redo of it. Yeah. But it's a fascinating cake. And then my friend Jaini, who comes from Brazil, gave me a carrot cake recipe. And you know what? Yeah. You put all the ingredients in the blender and you press the button and you get cake.
Yeah. Amazing to have that.
But you know what's so exciting? I've been doing this for a long time. But there's always something new. There's always a new recipe, a new way of making something, a new way of thinking about something. I think that's what makes this so exciting.
Yeah, and just having a really curious mind when you're dining out and spotting that plain-looking cake on a case
and
pastry
having the
case.
nerve to ask people.
Well, yeah. I mean, you do it in a polite way, I'm sure. Are you combing the streets of Paris for new ideas all the time? I mean, how could you not?
It's less combing than being knocked out by them.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky to live there. There's always something to see, something new to taste.
I love that you have a Greek portocalipita, and it's a cake that I got to see demoed in a culinary school in Athens when we were there on Taste Travels. I didn't get the exact recipe, so thank you for having that. It uses phyllo dough that's been dried out, and it's kind of a syrup cake. And it's kind of remarkable.
Yes. So I knew nothing about this cake. I was in Greece for the first time. We were staying in a little guest house in Sifnos, and as we were leaving, someone said, "You have to taste this cake." And I loved it, didn't have a clue about it. And a friend of mine who spends a fair amount of time in Greece said, "You're writing a cake book. I have a recipe I think you might be interested in." And it was this cake. And I had never made a cake where there's no flour in the cake. The phyllo dough makes the glue for the cake. And you fold it like a fan. Well, that's how I did it at least. And dry it in the oven and then crunch it and scrunch it. But I go back to how exciting it is to be making food because we learn all the time.
Oh no, I mean it's and oranges is really
and the oranges are boiled.
Is the base of it. You
That's
boil
right.
the oranges in that Mediterranean style and make an orange syrup, and you pour a healthy amount over it.
More than you think
It's
the cake
a
can
lot.
hold. And those oranges that you boil, you use all of them. Everything gets put into the cake.
Yeah, it's an amazing cake, and then it takes a while to set. It's like a long set, right? Like overnight, perhaps.
Baking is a game of patience.
It really is. That's why I'm so bad at it. Let's go there, Dorie. You brought it up. I mean, this. I look at I look at Nicola Lamb's book, which I love too.
I love that
amazing
book.
author, and I look at David Leibowitz's books, and I can name many. I look at just looking around the studio. I mean, we've got Paula Velez's book, and I look at these great baking books, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Well,
I can't do that. I just don't.
Can.
Really?
I believe that baking is easier, home baking is easier than home cooking because if you have a good baking recipe, all you have to do is follow it. I think cooking, there are judgment calls in baking, of course, but not many. Yeah. In cooking, you're always, tasting, cooking a little bit more. There's so much.
Time is what's savory. Like stovetop, it's you have to get your timing right. And baking is a little easier with the timing because if you have a preset oven with the right temperature, your timing is a little bit more consistent.
Matt, you can bake.
I'm gonna take that, Dorie, and just channel it into my
you
home
can
kitchen.
do it. I think with baking, you have to want to bake.
Yeah, you do.
Baking is an extra.
Baking is
even
an extra.
I admit that.
Yeah, baking's an extra. But can we survive without baked goods?
No,
I don't think so.
Would we want to?
Would we want to?
No,
we wouldn't want to.
Okay.
Another recipe, and this speaks to me in such a way, is your tribute to the York peppermint patty. My wife's favorite sweet thing in the world. And
do you keep them in the freezer?
We have in the past. It can be a little bit of a problem if we have too many. But I like the extra. When we lived in Brooklyn, we'd go to the bodega and just buy the big ones. That was always a nice treat. But you decided to make a brownie using York.
I've never been able to bake with candy.
Yeah.
I had it in my head. I wanted to make a Rocky Road cake. Could never get those marshmallows. I just gave up. But I have a friend who adores peppermint patties. My whole family does, actually. And so I had them in the freezer, and I thought, let me give it a try. And it was so much fun. The brownie is great. But the pieces of peppermint patty, I chopped them up, and I put them in the batter. And then I sat by the oven window and watched. And they burble, and they just come up to the top, and they kind of break. And they're wild. The whole thing seethes and moves. It is so much fun, and then it's delicious. It's chocolate and peppermint.
Yeah, it's that icy, it's synthetic in the best possible way mint. It's perfect.
I see. So I ended up calling them very cool brownies.
They are very cool brownies. I have to do a follow-up and in tribute to our friend Anna Heasel, who did the last interview back way in the day. Have you ever baked with Reese's peanut butter cups, Reese's novelties, anything in the Reese's family, which extends?
So I love peanut butter. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. I never have. I probably have stuck one on top of a cupcake or something. Sure. I couldn't get the whole candy bake thing. But these brownies are good.
The brownies is maybe the code has been cracked, but would you take it on a Reese's recipe?
I could take that on.
You take it on. What comes to mind right away? That way you
so I'm thinking I might go to a cookie, or I might stay with the cupcake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to think about this. I think I could do something. So I certainly could do a peanut butter brownie.
I think that might be the move, but in the similar style with the bubbling up.
Let me think.
You'd have to think about it. It seems from this book, it's cakes over cookies, right?
I like cookies.
I know you do.
I like cookies.
Wonderful book.
Like cakes. I'm really in my cake moment. But here's what I think. I want everybody to bake. Mm-hmm. Even you, Matt.
Yeah. Even me.
Because I think there's such pleasure, such satisfaction to be gotten from baking something and having something to share. I think these cakes are really doable.
Oh yeah,
they're a good place to start if you're not a baker.
I mean, the bunt.
Right? The bunt. Every bunt looks gorgeous.
Every bunt looks gorgeous, Dorie. And I'm looking at it's a nice section of bunt cakes. I don't own a bunt pan. Your face.
Matt.
Your face. I'm
Matt.
sorry. You look
Matt.
mildly heartbroken.
I could help you out. I have a huge collection.
You have a huge collection. Sure.
But I think cakes are so shareable. Cakes are so, hello, come in, sit down, let's talk. cookable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they made that a verb. I feel like we can talk about cakes like forever. I mean, cookies have a little bit of a limit.
I could make a case for cookies, but cakes, I mean, I think when we think of occasions, when we think of being together with friends and family,
Yes.
cake.
I have to talk about design too. You made some
Okay.
choices. This is an illustrated book.
Yes, it is.
It's very cool. Very unique way to do art for your art program is very cool.
So Nancy Pappas did the illustrations. I met her in 2019 at a Cherry Bomb Jubilee, loved her work, and thought one day, maybe I'll have a project we can work on together. And when I decided that the cakes were going to be really simple, I wanted the design to be very graphic.
Yeah.
I wanted the simplicity to be the draw. I didn't want it to be hidden by beautiful. I mean, I love photography, and I've been really lucky to work with great photographers. But I wanted the cakes to be there, not with a stack of plates and beautiful flowers, as gorgeous as that is. I wanted the cakes front and center, and I think Nancy's illustrations just did it.
Did you have to fight for that for your publisher, or was that it? Was that a conversation, or was it right away?
I think it was. My editor, Sarah Kwok, loved the illustrations from the start, but it was a conversation because it's very unusual.
It's not traditional, and the best way I love books that push forward form, and I think it's a beautifully designed book.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of the way that you are thinking about art direction with this book.
Thank you. I'm so excited about the look of the book. And
it's very, very cool. I guess how do you look at your three kitchens: New York City, Connecticut, and Paris? I mean, I know you said you do most of your development in Connecticut, but you have these three kitchens.
I do have three
Are
kitchens.
you entertaining equally in all of them?
So sadly, I'm hardly in New York anymore. I'm really between Connecticut and Paris.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Paris is a big city.
Yeah.
I find it so easy to get people together in Paris, easier than in New York or in Connecticut. Hi, want to come to dinner tomorrow? Sure. It's just I don't know why people are just freer, have more time. And so I do a lot of entertaining, a lot of friends in for simple dinners and cake. And my kitchen is tiny. I could, stand there, put out both arms and, touch the walls. And it's not very deep either. But I love working in that kitchen. And I bake a lot there.
Yeah. Before we get to taste check, I have to ask, 15 books in the can. What are you thinking about for future projects? You clearly love this stuff.
I love this stuff.
And you have ideas. What can you say? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I kind of did. I kind of did. Yeah, you're right.
So I don't have. I have ideas. Nothing is set yet. Yeah. I write a Substack, XOXO Dorie. I love doing that. So I'm going to keep doing that. But the way my mother's coffee pot perked.
Yeah.
That little percolation. There's something going on up there, and I think it's Paris, but it's not set yet.
I love your Substack, by the way. What's it been like on being in that world, the Substack world of it all?
It's so nice.
Yeah. You have a lot of fans.
Well,
a lot of readers.
I've got a lot of readers. They're so lovely. I love being in touch with them. It's a good community. It's a good community, and I love writing it.
So you're writing it weekly?
Weekly,
yeah.
Tuesday. So because I decided to publish on Tuesday because Tuesday is book publishing day.
Yeah.
And there's a baking group that started in 2007, I think, called Tuesdays with Dorie. They're still baking. They're going to be baking from Anytime Cakes.
Oh, cool.
And so Tuesday's the day it comes out because Tuesdays seem like the right day.
It's a beautiful day to put out a Substack. So do you connect with these Tuesdays with Dorie?
Yeah, sure.
Bakers?
On Instagram now. It was a blog when we all started.
So fun.
Yeah. And now it's on Instagram and Facebook and
Love that. Dorie, and this is Taste. We ask guests about their discerning taste. So to close this interview, here's a little rapid-fire Fast and Furious taste check. Are you ready?
Well, that was really fast. I can speak fast, but I can't think fast.
All right, we'll slow it down a bit. The best fruit.
So I'm going to say berries because I can bake with them. But I also like apples and I like oranges and I like
You
bananas.
said a lot of fruits there.
I'm sorry, but you didn't expect one answer,
I
did
didn't
you?
expect it. The worst vegetable.
Maybe, I don't know, I love vegetables, rutabaga, but it would be a shame to really call it the worst vegetable because it's so much fun to say.
It's a great word, but it doesn't taste very good. What is your typical breakfast?
I don't have breakfast.
It seems to be a trend on the show. Getting so many of these answers, I don't do breakfast.
I have coffee.
Yeah.
And then I have what could have been breakfast, but I don't feel like it early in the morning. At 11 o'clock, I have oatmeal with chili crisp.
I love that move.
That's a good one.
It's a great, like, late breakfast, getting you to the day of the savory.
And chili crisp.
Oh, yeah. Do you make your own? Do you have a product that you like?
Fly by Jing.
Great product. Great guys over there. All right, we ask everybody this, and you have to answer it. The best dessert.
I have to answer it?
Yeah, the best dessert.
I knew this question was coming.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Best dessert is ice cream put on. Something good. Put on cake.
A la mode.
A la mode.
A la mode is your best. Okay, you get a pass there.
Thank you.
A restaurant you wish you could bring back from the dead.
So since I've been in kind of memory mode lately, the chock full of nuts, you didn't have it, I'm sure. And I mean, it was gone by the time you got to New York.
Yeah.
But chock full of nuts used to have these restaurants that they were just counters. You sat at the counter on a high stool, and they made a Dayton nut bread sandwich that was so good. And it was the first place I ever went when I was allowed to take the subway by myself and go shopping in downtown Brooklyn and have lunch.
Beautiful. Is there cream cheese in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
sandwich? I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Yeah, lips are smacking. I mean, the memory of a date nut bread.
If I taste, I think if I tasted it now, it would still be good.
I bet. Have you done any recipe memory lane with that?
So there's a cake in the book that has dates and nuts. And it's my
Your tribute.
My tribute.
I love that memory. Yeah, before my time. But
Way
those
before
counters,
your time.
Those
And
counters,
gone.
Legendary counters of different style of dining. I love that. When you're craving fast food, where are you going?
So, is this horrible? I don't crave fast food. I crave potato. I crave fast snacks.
Yeah.
Does pizza count?
Sure does.
But
no.
pizza's so good and so well made.
Pizza's not really
and,
fast food unless it's a fast food pizza chain.
I don't have anything.
That's okay. You just
Sorry.
straight up pass.
M&M's? No, pass.
That's more of a packaged good. I think fair.
Oh, wait. Can I come back and ask you?
It's Taco
What's
Bell.
your- Taco Bell.
Probably. Or McDonald's.
I've
I don't
had
know.
McDonald's fries.
You've had McDonald's fries.
I have, yeah.
You've never had anything else from McDonald's?
I had chicken nuggets. I've never had a burger.
That's fair. That's okay. We've had chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Little Royale with cheese, they say. Pulp Fiction, funny. Dated reference. I guess you should maybe not do that if you don't want to go to
I don't. Maybe because I don't know it, I don't crave it.
Yeah, totally.
You could start me down a path.
I think so.
Yeah, you could. Taco Bell, here I come.
Yeah, I think you should. You got to try Taco Bell in your life. Come on.
Okay.
Maybe once.
I'll see. I'll answer your last two questions
Okay.
or whatever, and then I'm out of here to Taco Bell.
Yeah, go to Taco Bell down here in Midtown. Yeah, it's good stuff. Your favorite city to visit for food?
I don't know that I have one. Don't feel sorry for me. I don't get out much between Paris and New York.
Yeah.
But I've eaten really, really well in L.A.
Yeah.
I've loved the food in L.A.
Love that. What's a memory? Give me one.
Oh, pasta at Felix.
Oh, yeah, great spot.
Yeah.
It's a great call. Last one, your favorite sandwich?
A tuna fish salad. Why do we say tuna fish? Can't we just say tuna?
I don't know why we say that. It feels right. It feels right to say tuna fish.
Tuna fish. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I said tuna fish salad sandwich.
Yeah.
But I want the tuna salad made by either my son or my husband because they use more mayonnaise than I do.
Yeah, you don't want to know actually how much the right amount of mayonnaise is.
And little Joshua cuts teensy, tiny little squares of red pepper and
I like
puts
that.
them into the. It's nice.
Red pepper, good move.
Yeah.
I like that. What's the bread choice?
I don't know. It should be white bread, but And it's always white bread. But
Yeah.
wouldn't it be nicer on brioche?
I think a brioche makes many sandwiches nicer. I mean, for real, like
Yeah, for
a
real.
beautiful
For real.
brioche. Like, come on, like that richness. You want like that rich bite versus
And the way it toasts so that it's like it's brown and crackly on the outside, but if you cut it thick enough, it's like soft and beautiful inside. Oh, maybe not Taco Bell. Maybe
I think we're going to brioche after. We're going to go to a bakery. Dorie Greenspan, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining This Is Taste.
This has been so much fun. Thank you.
This is Taste is hosted and produced by Eliza Barbanal and me, Matt Rodbar. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Logo and guest illustrations by Ellie Skurzat. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.